Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome all here to the new sale rooms at Pontrilas this Thursday evening. We're here, of course, to offer for sale Cedar Villa at Much Birch, and we feel very privileged to being invited to offer it for sale by public auction. It's an open and fair and seen to be fair way of selling a property, and that's why we're here. We are here to do business, and we've also had numerous people around the property. And I'm glad to see a lot of familiar faces here this evening. Welcome to the sale rooms. I'm Nigel Ward anyway, and I'd like to introduce you to the two solicitors from Harris and Clark Rickabees. We've got Emma Jennings on my far right, and also Freddie Govia Wright, who's dealing with the conveyancing here on my immediate right. On my left, I got Julia, who's going to be recording the bids in writing in case I get jumbled up with where I got to. Hopefully that won't be the case. Anyway, the order of proceedings, the order that we normally adopt is that I will refer to the sale particulars and the various features of the property. I won't carry on too long doing that. Obviously, the object of the exercise is to get the thing on the market and sold here this evening. I'll then allow a few moments for people to ask any questions they may have regarding the sale particulars. The contract documentation, of course, has been available by electronic means. We're using that method now. Pages don't go missing if it's not done on a photocopier. It's a good way to do it. We have issued a good few sets of those, and hopefully they've got to you safely and you're happy with what you've seen there. We don't propose reading any of the contract documentation prior to offering the property for sale. We will also give you a brief opportunity to ask any questions of a legal nature that you may result having heard a little bit about the property, etc., and my preamble prior to offering for auction. I'll then proceed to the most important part of the evening, which is inviting your bids. And if you can make your bids as clear as possible, I'd be really grateful. I don't want to miss anybody's bids for the vendor's sake or your sake. So please don't be afraid to wave your arms or shout if you think I'm missing a bid. Upon conclusion of the bidding, we will invite the successful purchaser or purchasers to the front to deal with the conveyancing matters, with the paperwork. And of course to pay the 10% deposit, which is due this evening after the fall of the hammer. Completion date is 28 days from today, which by my reckoning is the 30th of September. Do we agree on that? 28 and 2, yeah, that's got to be the 30th of September. And at that juncture, you will be needing to pay the other 90% and settling the final account regarding that. The completion date can be brought forward to an earlier date if you so desire by mutual agreement. There's obviously nobody to move out of the place. It's ready for someone to move in as it stands at the moment. There will be an additional charge of £308.50 inclusive of VAT to cover the cost of the local authority search, the chancel policy, the drainage search and the environmental report, and that'll be payable to the seller's solicitors upon completion in addition to the outstanding balance of the purchase monies. So that should cover that. So next part is I will refer briefly to the sale particulars. It's actually quite upsetting to be selling this evening. We knew Richard and Fred really well. They used to be regular visitors here and we really miss them. They were so easygoing and lovely people to deal with. So it's very sad that we won't be seeing them here again. But anyway, we feel highly privileged to be offered the opportunity to sell a property this evening. So what have we got? We've got a good solid brick built house. It's standing in 3.75 acres or thereabouts, almost completely level land. It's been highly productive. Obviously, they grew vegetables, potatoes, beans, all sorts, and flowers as well on virtually every square inch of it. And apart from the fact that it's got potential for growing stuff, you've got that future potential for development. I think there are adequate plots for the time being as far as the council is concerned, but one would imagine that in few years' time, there's a strong possibility that the land could come for development. Who knows? But it looks in an ideal setting for such development. So the house, so you've got the entrance hall at the front there. You've got a very pleasant reception room to either side with some fine fireplaces. At the back, you've got the inner lobby leading to the kitchen, which is where they, of course, spent most of their time. There's a Rayburn there, which does it's the heat source for the central heating. You could adapt that and maybe run the radiator from something else. There's a radiator system in the house, of course. There's a shower room off. And off the kitchen, of course, is a little lean-to on the end, which is, it's almost got the feeling of a shop. And I'm sure they used to sell vegetables and flowers and all sorts of things there on those counters there. And it was very handy just to nip out from the kitchen where they spent so much time. Upstairs, you've got a landing, and you've got 3 bedrooms. They all take double beds if you wanted them to. Quite a large bathroom. Roof space up there. Not a lot of insulation up in the roof space, but may have some potential to do something with that at some date. So you've got it quite close to the road. A good entrance coming in from the road. A tremendous amount of trade used to come through that gate, and they're such lovely people to deal with. I'm sure that that's why everybody was so keen to buy things from them. And good quality vegetables, etc., at very reasonable price as well. There's various outbuildings. No attempt has been made to hide what outbuildings we've got there. What you've got is what you see is what you get. They've got a good footprint. There's a lot of square footage there, and maybe that would be a benefit at some time in the future if you want to replace them with similar buildings or maybe on the same footprint. There's workshop there. The water tower, that's a well-known landmark. 64 years ago when I first went to school, I remember going past that, and I always noticed that water tower when I was off to school in Hereford, and I used to think that Humpty Dumpty used to live there, which was a bit of a curious thing to say, but that's what I used to think. And it's a real landmark. Perhaps someone could open a place there called the Water Tower Nurseries or something like that, maybe painted a slightly more attractive colour. And it is a real landmark. You've got the other buildings as well. And of course, the water tower used to supply water to quite a number of properties around the village, as well as some farms, I understand. There's a 7,000 gallon or thereabouts tank above ground, which is, I believe, being used for irrigation purposes. And in the buildings, you've got a 3-phase power supply and 2 very beefy pumps there that will pump a lot of water. I assume that was used to pressurize the system supplying places in the village whilst they were supplying water to those properties. The land, well, it's in 2 principal enclosures. There has been a bit of encroachment to the rear enclosure, as you've no doubt gleaned from the contract and from viewing the property. There's also a bit of timber growth on that back field. It's mainly willow. We've cleared around the perimeter to make it easy to see the boundaries. So I'm sure a lot of you have been appreciative of the fact you haven't had to wade through brambles up to your neck, which it would have been if we hadn't done it. Ingoing valuation, there isn't one. You buy it as it stands. Anything that's there comes with it. There'll be no claim entertained for dilapidations of any sort by the same token. So what you buy is what you get. There is a development overage clause. It's not a particularly onerous one. It's, as you've probably seen, it's 15,000 for each dwelling that you might develop on the site. And that'll be index linked. You know, the villages around Ross where building plots are making 100,000 plus. So 15,000 per plot is a relatively minor figure to worry about, even with a bit of inflation added on. It's sold subject to any easements, way leaves and rights of way. I'm not aware of any rights of way there. There is an electricity transmission line that crosses the ground. It's a 3-phase line, as I say, and there's a supply off it. Don't think there's a lot more I can say. It's been a lovely home for the brothers there for several decades. They love the place, and it's very sad they're not any longer with us to be customers, but such is life, I suppose. But anyway, does anybody have any questions about the particulars at all? No? Does anyone have any questions of a legal nature that you might like to put to the solicitors who are with us this evening? It's good. I'm sure you're as relieved as I am. Well, without any more ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'll proceed to invite your bids for Cedar Villa Much Birch. First time on the market for many, many decades. How often do you get a place with a few acres right on the edge of a village like that? I mean, it's up in the mountains you get them, but not very often like this. So start me where you will. Someone start me. What's it going to be? Someone start me, what, 400 perhaps? 300 was that? At 300 I'm bid. At 300,000, 10, 20, 330, 340, 350, 360, 370, 380, 390, 400, 410, 420, 430, 440, 450, 440 is here, 450 if you like, 450, 460, 470, 480, 490, 500, 510, 520, 530, 540, 550. Try 5 perhaps. At 540 is on my left. At 540. At 540. 2 if you like. 542. At 540 is here. At 540 it is. Anyone else coming in? Am I missing anybody? At 540,000 is for the first time then. At 540 for the second. Genuine bidding all the way. It's in the market. It's going to be sold. At 540,000 for the third and final time. Are you quite sure? One if it'll help you. At £540,000 is then selling at 540. Congratulations. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to step forward, we sort out the paperwork. Thank you.